What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Juan from the Max&JuanCast, coming at you guys with a little NBA talk once again on YouTube. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. It helps us out, man.
What's up? It's Max joining Juan today. And Juan's underselling it. You need to smash that like button. Smash it like the guy we're going to talk about smashing three-pointers into the side of the backboard.
Is that what we talking about? Playoff P?
We're talking about the great Playoff P, Pandemic P, Paul George, PG-13. He was awarded today, and I say awarded knowing damn well what it means. A huge extension from the Clippers, $205 million potentially. So basically, he's under contract the next 3 years, and he has a player option after that year. He had an opt-out after this year, but that scratched due to the new contract. What do you think, Juan? Initial reactions? And let me just add, he's 30 years old right now, coming off the worst postseason we've seen a superstar, alleged superstar, have.
Well, my first reaction is he gonna leave? The first thing I wanted to know was, does he have a player option? When can he opt out? That's my first reaction. Second reaction, I can't believe that the Clippers did this. The Clippers are that desperate, and willingly so. If they lose Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, this whole LA thing was a big failure in my book. Huge failure. Because after this season, Kawhi Leonard was able to opt out and Paul George. And if they lose those two guys, what do they have left? No draft picks and no superstars.
I feel like even if Paul George stays with this contract and Kawhi bounces, it's still a failure. Because, I get the alert on my phone, I look at it, and I double taked. I was like, what? You extended the wrong guy. If this was Kawhi, I'd be like, that's amazing. Amazing, yeah, great job.
Win. He'll never sign that, though.
No, he learned from LeBron. You keep the power by being on the short-term deals. I honestly couldn't believe they extended him. Now, a little later, I'm going to play devil's advocate and say good move by the Clippers, okay? But as of right now, I'm just giving you my initial thoughts. This guy and Kawhi Leonard drove a wedge in the Clippers. The Clippers were a good team before they got there. Let's not forget. People were rubbed wrong by the special treatment to both of these guys. Montrezl Harrell has trashed the Clippers since leaving. What's the culture like in LA right now? I don't know. Do you trust Ty Lue in addition to Paul George right now? I don't.
I do not.
Do you think the culture is kind of an understatement of what's wrong with this team?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of guys who, besides Kawhi Leonard, think that they've won something. They haven't done anything.
When I watched the Clippers last year, it was like 5 individuals on the team, and they were just playing individually. There was no really cohesiveness. As opposed to when you watch the Lakers or Heat, it was, wow, this is a real team. These guys like each other. They're getting so hyped.
And that was kind of like all the teams, all the good teams, at least. I feel like the Celtics played that way. Like you said, the Heat, the Lakers, even the Nuggets to a certain extent. Like, those guys didn't play as individuals. Like you said, they played as a team. They played for each other.
Absolutely. And this is what's scary. I'm not trying to sound mean, but this is a guy coming off a horrific leg injury. I know it happened a long time ago. But Juan, you watched Paul George before the injury, correct?
Yeah.
As did I. It's night and day difference, the levels of athleticism the guys have.
Night and day.
Just ask yourself, when was the last time you saw Paul George dunk somebody? I just don't think it's a good deal giving a guy who's going to be 34 years old in the final year of his contract, if he picks up the player option, $40 million a year. What are you guys thinking? And he has a checkered injury history. Last year, he missed a chunk of the regular season. He had shoulder surgery on both shoulders. It's just a risk to me. I feel like it was Steve Ballmer saying, we're not losing Paul George. We're keeping one marketable guy in LA. We're moving to a stadium. I need someone to fill the seats. Even though it's in COVID, the seats might not get filled for who knows how long. I feel like it was just a move to keep Clipper fans happy. Say, look, we have a name.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a panic move. They gave money to a guy who, number one, hasn't performed well. Number two, has injury concerns. And number three, is known to leave. You see what he did to OKC. You seen he wanted to bounce out of Indiana. Who knows? Yeah, it's a 5-year deal, but maybe the second year of this deal, he wants to get traded. You know how the NBA is going right now. Just look at a guy like James Harden. Just because you're on contract for that team doesn't mean you're going to necessarily play for that team.
Not to shame our guy AD, but he did the same thing to the Pelicans.
Exactly. It's just the new era of basketball that we live in today.
Now, let me ask you this. If Kawhi leaves next year, does Paul George request a trade? I think he does after 1 year.
Yeah, because who do they have after that? They're not going to get nothing for Kawhi.
He's just going to bounce. He's going to bounce.
I don't even think they're going to do a sign and trade kind of thing. He's going to bounce. And I doubt he's going to stay with the Clippers because in my prediction, I don't think the Clippers are going to win the finals this year. Even with Paul George with this new contract or second year with chemistry, all that, whatever you want to put on it. The aftermath of it, you have to look at it from a negative side and say, hey, do we have a good enough team if Kawhi leaves with just Paul George? And in my opinion, no. Not to mention his age. Like you said, he's 30 years old.
Can I read you a quote Paul George dropped? I don't know if you've seen this. Can I read it to you? I'm back with my trainer that I had my MVP season. I'm locked in. I'm on MFers' asses. So last year when you were a favorite to win a championship, you took the summer off? You didn't work with the guy who made you an MVP candidate? I don't get that. I think that's just typical offseason bull crap saying, look, I'm in the lab this year. Whatever, Paul George. Enough talk from you. Enough wanting to be the guy. Go out there and be the guy. I don't think he is the guy, and that's what the beauty of him playing for the Clippers. You can make the playoffs and Clipper fans are happy. I'm glad the Lakers never got him. The lights are way too bright on this side of Staples Center.
The guy doesn't even show up big in big games at all. If you look up his numbers, any closeout game, any elimination game, it's horrible. I'm talking about 3 for 11s, 5 for 18s. It's bad. His last good game, it wasn't good. It was great. And that's obviously when he was with the Pacers back in his young days against the Miami Heat. When his come out party. That was the best he's ever played. And ever since then, he's never amounted to that level of play. And yeah, maybe it's the injury. Or maybe it's the fact that he's just not a good player under pressure. And the Clippers messed up, like we said. They paid an old guy. He's 30 years old. He doesn't play good in big games. He's known to flake out on you. And he has injury concerns. That's 4 red flags right there. You should not pay a guy with that many red flags. Bottom line.
Look, I'm going to take the other side right now. If they're able to get Paul George to play like he did the MVP season, it's going to be scary. I still don't know if that's enough to beat the Lakers in the West or maybe Milwaukee in the East. I don't know. But you're betting on a guy coming back to his MVP season. And at his prime, I would say Paul George's prime was the last year in Indiana. And I know it's weird because he had like the 1-year injury. But the best season he ever had was 2 years ago in OKC, where he was third in MVP voting. That guy is amazing. I haven't seen that guy in the last year. And granted, that was before the surgery. And he tailed off at the end of that last year. That guy is worth his contract. But I'm a little skeptical still. And I'm still trying to be on Paul George's side right now. He's a great shooter, great passer, great defender. But basically, we need more from him. And I don't know if he has more to give. Give me your letter grade on this extension that Paul George somehow got. And really quick, get your bag, bro. If someone's going to give you that much money, I ain't mad at you for taking it, okay? No, we're not mad at Paul George for signing the contract. We're mad the contract was given.
Yeah, get the bag. Agent, letter grade, A+. Team letter grade, team letter grade. As bad as it sounds, I give it a C-. Because there is a possibility, like you said, he could have potential to be that player. But I don't see it. There's too many red flags. It's not looking good. I don't like the extension.
Paul George's agent is the winner of this deal. He's going to have a very early Christmas. So is Paul George. I give this deal for the Clippers, I give it a C+. I still think he's a good player, but he has a lot to write on his playoff resume. It's funny because in the beginning part of his career, he was great in the playoffs, and that's where younger players usually struggle. But when he hits his prime is when he really has his struggles. That's so bizarre. Honestly, I think there's only one more thing to talk about with this one. And how many more game winners do you think Paul George is going to get eyed up with?
At least one more this season.
And Are you a great player if you've never hit a game winner on Paul George?
No, you got to hit one over him. Nah.
Devin Booker, LeBron, who am I forgetting? Jason Tatum snatched his soul.
Jeez.
Who am I missing? I'm missing someone who was bad. Let's just count Luka's against him because he was on the court. Damian Lillard, oh my gosh.
Damian Lillard, the famous Damian Lillard one. Bye-bye.
And just like Dame waved bye to Paul George, me and Juan are out. Thank you guys for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate it. Juan, end it right now.
Bye-bye.
Peace.